is the New York Knicks. Your best season in 25 years, and you fire your coach without having a plan. I mean, it's almost so Knicks that it doesn't even shock us. We're like, oh yeah, of course they're now surfing around trying to find somebody else's wife. Like, all these dudes are taken. Jason Kidd is taken. Ime Udoka is taken. Chris Finch is taken. And you fired your coach before even realizing whether or not you can get them?
So now, I guess
they're idiots.
It might be two-faced because we kind of all looked at the Bucks a little sideways when they hired Doc Rivers immediately after firing the guy who was there before Budenholzer.
Yeah. No. It was Dantley.
Yeah, him.
And
it was like, damn.
Was it Adrian Dantley?
Doc Rivers was in the conversations on who to fire, who to hire, and he slid himself in there and got the job.
Adrian Griffin. Adrian Dantley was a former basketball player as well.
So it happens in all lines of work where before you end up firing a guy, you know who's going to step in and take their spot, and maybe not even a part of your organization at that time. This in all walks of life, not just in sports, in those front offices, but it would be a little bit slimy if they already had these conversations, but it would be more functional and make more sense for the better of the team.
Yes, but here's the thing. I criticized not the Bucks for hiring Doc Rivers. I criticized Doc Rivers for hiring Doc Rivers. That was my issue with that. I'm cool with you firing a coach and then going on a coaching search or knowing who you're going to hire instead. Doc Rivers was the advisor to the Bucks. He was a Bucks employee, and he had to be in on the decision-making to fire Adrian Griffin. And then he had to be in on the decision-making to hire Doc Rivers.
Yes, and we have the exact apples-to-apples comparison in football with someone we know and love.
Really?
Someone who is a part of the committee advising who the Jets should hire at GM and at quarterback. And that was a former president of a team, former GM of a team in Mike Tannenbaum.
How good would that have been if Mike T became the next GM of the Jets? I would have been great for content. Sure. I would have loved it. I would have had to criticize him the same way I criticized Doc Rivers, though. So I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah. But instead it's going from advisor to head coach instead of advisor to front office.
Imagine not being smart. And again, I know the Bucks have great leadership, great ownership. In fact, great minority owner of the Bucks, Craig Karmazin. Shows a lot of love around here. Not criticizing the Bucks at all, but imagine this. Like, the guy who is supposed to be advising you on your coaching search, raising his hand and saying, I'll do it. I got this.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I wonder if Doc Rivers, if he didn't tell the Bucks he was the best man for the job until they already fired Adrian Griffin. By the way, the Bucks were like 31-15 when they did this, by the way. That was the other issue. They were like really good. They were second in the East. And he was like, we should fire that guy.
Next stop.
Then he was like, we should hire me. I was bored.
Next stop.
We are in Manhattan, New York, because we're going to talk about those dysfunctional New York Knicks.
Desperate.
Who would have thought the offseason conversation about the New York Knicks would be anything but positive after being 6 wins away from doing the unthinkable and winning a championship this millennium? But yes, the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau 2 weeks ago. They did not have their replacement lined up. In fact, the guys that they are trying to get in the door, trying to take over this win-now roster, happen to all be head coaches for other teams currently. So they don't have free reign. They can't just interview whoever they want. They've got to request to speak with these current head coaches. They spoke to Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch. Were they allowed to talk to him? No. They got that request denied by the Timberwolves. They also wanted to talk to Houston Rockets head coach Ime Udoka. Were they allowed to talk to him? No. And the Golden Goose in Dallas, Jason Kidd, head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, who is on his way to possibly selecting Cooper Flagg at number 1 overall. They defied the odds. They won the lottery. Were they allowed to talk to Jason Kidd per the Mavericks? Swing and a miss. 0 for 3. The Knicks could not interview any of their top 3 candidates. Theo, where do the Knicks go from here?
This is so unserious. The Knicks are so very unserious. I'm not sure if there's any more taken men the Knicks can go after right now. Maybe they should hit up Alicia Keys and ask her how she did it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I will say this: they did the right thing by going after Ime Udoka. You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen him not let prior engagement get in the way of what he wanted before. I have nothing on this.
That's a great jab.
Oh yeah, who's that? Who does that hurt more though? I guess that Ime doesn't give a damn.
No,
guy who takes what he wants. Woe is the Knicks. I do hope that for at least Knicks fans, they can if you get the head coach you so desire, which I'm guessing Mike Malone is the next up guy. At least he's actually free. They're looking at getting Kevin Durant. They think that they have a chance at getting Kevin Durant. If they don't get KD this summer, it is going to be yet another year, another offseason in which they have had their hopes all riled up in a bunch, all extremely pointed towards good things happening after a promising season, and it's going to end in the same thing that we've seen it end in every single offseason, and that's failure, disapproval, and rejection.